When I teach about board games at Indiana University, there's always this conversation with the students who ask where the idea of a game comes from. And in most cases, I tell them it's going to be either a theme and you figure out the mechanics later, or the mechanics and you figure out the theme later. From time to time, rarely you can tell that a game was designed about and starting from a component, from an object. And so when I saw on Kickstarter Tiny Turbo Cars that really looks like was inspired by the old 15 games, or at least it revolves around the very unique and specific components, I was curious as an example that I can quote to my students. I can mention it in class. Also, it seems fun. It seemed like a fun game. It's a race game and a lot of race games, so I kickstarted it. My copy has finally arrived. My copy has a couple of extras, but in this video I'm only going to show you the base game so that you know what you get if that's what you pick up in a store. The topic is, well, we're playing with remote-controlled cars, with tiny turbo cars, and we're playing on the floor of our apartment. So there's definitely an idea of like it looks like we take on the role of children. We're playing with remote control cars. Like, I wouldn't play with those now. I totally would. You have different pieces of terrain which you can combine in different tracks, and again even more so if you have the stretch goals of Kickstarter, and I'm sure there will be expansions later. You start from a certain tile, you race until at least one player reaches the end zone. When somebody does that, that triggers the end of the game. That is the last round. If only one player reaches the end zone at the end of a round, they win the game immediately, or at least they win the game at the end of that round. And if multiple players reach the end of the track, then the player who was the furthest wins the game. So each player will have a totally adorable meeple kind of car, at least made of wood like meeples are, and they're really nice. Each car also comes with a card that both matches the player and the car, so we know who has who, and also each car has a unique power, a unique ability, some sort of advantage. Also, each player will take one of these remote controls. The game is super simple. These are shuffled in between rounds, and so after you shuffle one, you pass to the next player and you get another one, so you have one that you don't know exactly what's on, and then everybody at the same time will flip the remote and will start shuffling and doing things like crazy. So just reorganizing the position of the tiles here to create different configurations. When I'm satisfied with mine, then I take this piece here and I place it there to indicate to get the thing ready to go. Then I also announce to everybody that I'm done, and I take, I damaged the track there, and I take the tile on top of this stack. There will be a number of stacks in this tiles in this stack equal to the number of players. When only one is left, so only one player is still playing with their 15 tile remote control, then you start a 10-second count, and then the round is over. Now, after that, we resolve the actions that we programmed. Each controller is revealed, and each car in order of tiles from happiest to least happy. The players will use the controls that they programmed. You only use the two central lines as reminded to you by that element of the controller. So first we're going to resolve this, and then we're going to resolve this. And so if this is what I prepared, there you go, and suppose I'm red, well, this command, and the commands are very intuitive. This means I'm going to advance one space forward. That means I'm going to jump over one space and then move one more. Ooh, that incidentally helped me avoid that obstacle there. How lucky. That was great planning. Then here we move by 2 spaces in this direction. Oh, then I'm gonna smash against that area there. And when that is the case, because I got nowhere to go, I lose a battery token. And I have 3, and there may be game effects that allow me to regain them. And suppose, however, that instead I ended my movement there, then I'm moving here, then I got 2 and then 1, so 3 movements in that direction. And you can see, very intuitive. You just do what it says, and you interact with different kinds of features. Some features, again, are obstacles, are impassable. Some feature will slow you down, such as the carpet, the wet floor, reverses your blue and red arrows, the direction. As for other things here, this one will increase by 1 the command next to it. This one gets you back. This one reintegrates a battery. This one slows you down, so diminishes by 1 the command that is next to it. This one gets you a battery, and this one lets you shoot at cars in front of you. So, once you know the commands and you know the terrain tiles, the game is extremely simple, it's extremely intuitive, because everybody programs around, re-resolve them in order of happiness, with crazy game effects that will come from the fact that you were programming your things under duress, under time constraints, and then you don't know exactly what the cars of the opponents will be, so there will be still damage that will happen as cars bump into each other, and again your batteries will be gone. And it's fun and it's crazy. Oh, as for these batteries, if you almost run out, you're still going. And again, there can be interesting timing elements there, because it can be that I'm able to get a battery back before I'm completely depleted. But if you're completely depleted, then you're simply skipping moves that would be left, and for each move that you skip, you recover a battery, and you have to do so until your battery is fully recharged. Then you start executing from there. So suppose I actually run out of battery here when I only have 2 commands left, then I can recharge 2 batteries, and next turn, whatever is my first movement, I'm going to ignore it to do this, which again, sometimes you got to take that information into account. It doesn't have to be all bad. So for any adult who knows kind of the basics of the 15 puzzle, this is not going to be a problem. I don't know that this is a game that I could just recommend for, like, any family to play with children. Technically, yes, but for example, my kids have never been too excited about this one, so I know they're not quite proficient. They never played it a lot, and so I think this game would just be random and frustrating for them. But then maybe your kids do like this, and so that's fun. Then that would work. So what we have here is an original take on race games and also on programming games. Full disclosure, I'm usually terrible at programming games. I'm just terrible. If you want to see me cry, find a way to get me to play Robo Rally. Then you'll see me just in abysmal amounts of pain. So it's not likely we're ever going to play that. I'm terrible at them. Somehow, this one, I don't know. I do okay, which makes just the right balance of a game being not too easy but still exciting. The theme is silly, but it works very well. The components are charming. You got a lot of replay value with different tracks, especially when you add various expansions. So I'm really happy. It looks gimmicky as it is designed around a very specific game component, but the result is one that, if you're familiar at all with the basics of the 15 puzzles, then the result is one that is fun and interesting and exciting. Yes, it has chaos. Yes, you make one mistake and you waste a lot of moves, and you have to then figure out from there. But if you're in the right spirit, that is part of the fun. Definitely, I find Tiny Turbo Cars to be a very enjoyable game.